Hi, welcome to a brand new episode of Khaskura Podcast. I'm with you, Rama.
And I'm Anuja. Hi.
Hi. So, Anuja, what are we talking about?
Today, we're going to be talking about a highly requested topic, and it is called, drum rolls, scholarships.
Scholarships! Yay! I'm really excited about this topic. Scholarship, just to give you an idea, we want to see what kind of scholarship do international students qualify for coming to America, or if they're already here in America, going to already in school or applying for their grad school. We want you to see what are the best ways to find scholarship, what type of scholarships there are, and hopefully give you enough resources that you can apply for scholarship and hopefully get one.
Yeah, absolutely. Like scholarship is technically not free money, but it's a good reward for your hard work and all of the efforts you've put in throughout your life. So there are two big chunks or two big categories of scholarships.
Yes.
One is need-based scholarships and the other is merit-based scholarship. Need-based is just like it says, depends on your financial needs. So it's purely need-based. You're not categorized based on how much you scored on SAT or how your grades have been. It's just purely based on what your financial necessity is. And merit-based scholarship is also just like it says, depends on how skillful you are, how academically successful you are, like how great your grades are, how well you scored on test scores. Or it can also be artistic scholarship or like how good of an artist you are or like if there's a potential or an athletic scholarship. So anything that has to do with your ability.
Yes, definitely. And just because your grades aren't the best, don't think that you don't qualify for scholarship. There are so many need-based scholarship too that we definitely want you to research and hopefully apply. Yeah.
And even in merit-based scholarship, I feel like it's a more wholesome package because they don't just look at one particular thing. Suppose if your grades are terrible, but you scored high on your SATs, that might be a factor to consider. Yes. And your extracurricular activities, your recommendations, your essay, how strong of an essay you can write. So it's all a big package and all of the factors need to be considered equally.
And we're going to try to touch on the main points what you need for scholarship in this episode. First, let us guide you to the steps of finding a scholarship. So first thing I would say is check your prospective schools, right? If you haven't applied for any schools or if you have applied already, check the school's website, just search for a scholarship in their website and you'll hopefully find something. The second thing is that if you're already enrolled in a school, you can ask your academic advisor and they will be definitely a good resource to give you some idea on what scholarships there are available.
Yeah, even if you're starting out as a freshman, you can always email your international student counselor and ask them, hey, if there is any scholarships for freshmen, because my little brother, when he applied to college here in Jersey, he got a presidential scholarship, but obviously he had a good academic standing and he scored really well in his SATs and he's a good writer too.
That's
so
great,
it was a nice mix of everything, but it's always good to be curious because there are different tiers of scholarships that you can definitely qualify for.
There's definitely scholarship for photojournalists, everything. In America, you should definitely look into whatever field you're going into. Yeah. And another way you can find scholarship is if you dig into your network, ask someone, hopefully we're in your network too by now. Yeah. So ask us. And also you can try, like we said, the college portals. You can find these portals having information about not the college's website, the scholarship, but scholarship sponsored by other people.
Organizations, third-party sponsor,
definitely.
And a good rule of thumb, or not really rule of thumb, a good rule to have before you start looking for scholarships is to have a good solid list of colleges you want to apply to. And,
definitely.
And before making that list, you have to consider what your priorities are, what kind of program you're looking for, how much you can afford, what kind of living conditions you can afford. Have a good list of colleges that you'd like to apply to on an Excel sheet. That's your best friend. Have their website next to it, write the due date, the deadline, like what part of the process you're in, like have you written the essay, have you contacted somebody, like have all of those details listed so you keep track of where you're applying and how much money you're spending, because sometimes when you apply to colleges the cost of application can be $100. Yeah. Not for scholarship, just for applying for colleges.
And also the cost of application, I don't know for international student, but sometimes when you're in here, when I was applying for grad school, based on your financial situation, you can ask for the college fees to be waived. Yeah. So you can do that as well.
Well, right? Application fee.
College application fee. Like not the college fee. Yes. So the next segment we want to kind of join in and jump into is kind of give you an idea of what are the document that you need and how to prep for it. So do you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah. First things first, every scholarship will require you to give them a reasoning as to why you deserve to have that scholarship. Yes. So statement of purpose, writing an essay, whatever question they ask, you have to... Sometimes they will have elaborate questions or they'll have 3 or 4 or 5 questions that you need to cover in that essay. Be mindful of that. Always... I would recommend writing anecdotal essays where you describe your experiences and try to like find a fit between the scholarship, the college, and your own personality and your experiences. Yeah. The next thing would be to do like extensive research on like to find out what kind of values the college actually presents. Yeah,
has. Yeah. Definitely a lot of colleges here in America, you know, some colleges are determined to have more women in their XYZ field, let's say business or tech, or get more, you know, international student in their digital marketing program or stuff like that. So do some research. If those motto of these colleges align with what you're kind of looking for, you can definitely apply to those colleges and apply to the scholarship that they definitely, or 99% of the time, they will have some kind of program to assist you. Yeah. And another thing about a good essay is that just tell a true story, right? You come from this country where you're trying to come to America and go to school here. And that's already a very promising subject or a story that you're determined to make something out of yourself. So elaborate more on that. Also, be sure when you are writing these essays that you write something about how you getting that scholarship is going to help you personally and also help the community. I think that's a very important point that people are looking for.
Yeah, long as cliche as it sounds, they are looking for that in the hindsight. Yes. And you don't have to go about it the same route like everybody else does. Everybody has their own journey, and you should definitely try to like make yourself stand out.
Definitely. Like Anuja said already, like volunteering helps, right? If you were volunteering somewhere or if you worked somewhere, that definitely shows as a good thing in your resume or your college essay at this point.
Speaking of resume, actually a lot of scholarship, even as a freshman, a lot of scholarship applications require you to have a resume. So have that in mind. Like, it doesn't have to be a professional resume. Obviously, you're in high school, you're not going to be working a professional job. But if you have volunteering experience, if you have had scholarships in the past, mention all of those things and what kind of courses and classes you took in the past. Yeah.
And also, Nepal is a very sports active country, right? We play a lot of soccer, and I used to play a lot of I used to participate in high jump and long jump, and I didn't put all of that in my school essay, but I should have.
Track running.
Yes, So you put all of that achievement in any field is a good indication that you're motivated and driven. So try to include that in your essay.
Oh, also leadership.
Leadership.
If you're a member of a club, or if you held a governing position or a leadership position in that club, you can do that. Like when I went to high school in St. Mary's, we had writing club, we had drama club, we had dance club, all these clubs. Debate club, So if you're part of that, you definitely can mention some of those things too.
Some of those, yes, for sure. And also sometimes the colleges will ask, like, why do you want to come to the school and why should we offer you this scholarship? So be very articulate. Try to answer all the questions that they're asking. If they already has a format for the scholarship essay, just make sure you answer all the questions. And this is very important that you stick to the word count. If they're saying 500 words or less, stick to that. Write a draft and proofread it. Proofread it 10 times.
Yeah.
There are softwares like Grammarly. I think Google also provides some kind of, or Microsoft Word has these spell and grammar check. Make sure you run your essay through that and make sure there's no grammar error, because that's a big no-no, right?
Yeah. You do not want to give them an impression of irresponsibility.
Yes.
It has to be near perfect.
Yeah.
And because the competition is so high,
you
have to make yourself stand out. And like one of the baselines to even like start, even be in the competition is by making everything accurate, be punctual in turning in everything and collecting everything that you need, all the documents, all the information. So just be timely.
It's very important.
Yeah, that's like the baseline. And then after that, what jumps up is your experience, your personality, your grades, your story, your essay, all of those things.
Yes. And usually another technical thing that you need is SAT, IELTS or TOEFL scores.
Yeah.
So these are a few things that, having higher score in these things might help. One of the good thing of American education system is that it doesn't really look at what you have, what your grade is right now, but what is the pattern. So if you were declining or if you were a really, average kid, but you're really trying to get higher grades. So they look at that format and that progression. So if you have some good score, that definitely helps, and try to score a little bit higher on your TOEFL and IELTS. Yeah.
These days, colleges are becoming a lot more lenient in terms of not requiring SATs, but we would highly recommend taking the SATs and doing well in it, because it lasts, 3 or 5 years?
5 years.
Yeah.
I took GRE. It lasts 5 years. Yeah.
So it lasts for a long stretch of time.
Yes.
So if you just take it, and if you decide to transfer colleges, then you can reuse it.
Yeah.
As a added bonus.
Yeah. Make sure you prepare for the scholarship. Like if the due date is in April, make sure you prepare 3, 4, 5 months ahead of the time, because one of the things that makes it very important for you to prep early is recommendation, right? So you oftentimes you're required by your work manager or your professors or your closely non-related person to give you a recommendation, and give them some time to come up with a good recommendation for you. So if you're doing everything last minute, you're putting more pressure on these people who are recommending you, and it definitely doesn't look like a good way to manage time, which doesn't look good on your way of working. So make sure you have a lot of time before the deadline of the application, and make sure you have a good relationship with your college or your teachers, college professors or your teachers, and or the college staffs, right? So they can write some nice recommendation for you.
Yeah, and always never ever burn your bridges, especially in a professional setting.
Yes.
I know there's not much of a professional setting when you are just out of high school, but always be respectful of your teachers. I know we're taught this from a very early age to be very respectful to our teacher. It's not always possible. Some teachers can be extremely mean for no reason. But it's always good to have at least 4 or 5 teachers on your court, so they can actually like help you and give you a good recommendation.
Yeah, and even in college, like I have a teacher in my computer science in Baruch College called Abu something. I forgot his last name. It's very hard to pronounce.
Yeah.
I still am connected with him on LinkedIn, and I ask him a few career questions, and he's still responding and looking out for me. So it's definitely a good thing to maintain a good relationship, and it's understandable sometimes the teachers are a little difficult to deal with, and it's your choice, but definitely maintaining a good relationship is good.
Because this kind of like plays in the long term as well, because once you're done with your college, especially for international students, it's hard to find work.
Yeah.
So if you have professors who have a good network of like professionals, they can definitely put your foot in the door, like help you get your foot in the door.
Yeah, your brother, right? One of his professor recommended him. So
for an interview.
For an interview. So that was a good way of networking with you. And
Because like getting an interview is a big deal. Like here they screen your resume, they do a phone call interview, they do in person, like multiple layers of interviews, even for an internship position. So always keep in mind that you want to have people on your side and you want to build a network.
Yes, definitely. So now we've given you a few tips on what is needed for scholarships and how to go about it. Few things we want to do. So what we want to do is warn you about few things. So first of all, first warning is never ever trust an organization or a service that tells you, oh, we'll guarantee you a scholarship, because nothing is guaranteed. Because these people are not issuing you your scholarship, so they should not guarantee you. And if they are, there's a high possibility that that person's just trying to, get a fee from you or trying to use you for some other purpose.
I think like most of the scholarship applications are free, especially if you're applying for college.
Yes.
So be mindful of that. And if somebody asks you to give them your financial information or your bank account number, don't do it. I would double check everything before.
This reminds me, filing for DV lottery is free. You know how many, there are so many companies in Nepal who run on filing for DV lottery. Yes, it is very tedious and you have to be mindful of a lot of things, which I think that's what the service is for. But DV lottery is free. And also most of these scholarships that you apply for are free to apply.
Be free.
Yes. If there's a companies that's asking for your personal information, be very aware, because in this day of data privacy, you kind of have to protect your own data. So make sure you don't just fall into that trap of giving out information to anyone.
Yeah, especially if there's no option to opt out.
Yeah.
Because when you go shopping, they always try to like get you to subscribe to their email list.
Yes.
And there's an option to cross that pop-up box and move on.
It's hidden somewhere in gray, but there's usually an option.
Exactly. So if there's no like opt out, then definitely don't go for it. And always, I would always trust like .edu or your own colleges. Colleges portal mostly. Yeah,
there's a website actually called scholarshiPDB.net. It's scholarshipDB as in database.net, which I think has a lot of these scholarships all over the world. I really trust that.
And final few tips for students who live here, are already here, going to college, who have a green card or a citizen, you can always apply for FAFSA. Sometimes you might get grants based on your needs, or sometimes you'll get a student loan. Obviously, student loan is better than other forms of borrowing in America. But again, like I would still stay away. But it is definitely comparatively a lot less interest rate than what you would be charged by a credit card company or a bank.
Private company, yes, for sure.
And plus, they give you 6 months grace period after you graduate from college to find a job and then start paying.
That's good. Yeah, loans. Definitely.
In the end, like I think this is the last tip I wanted to mention.
Okay.
I found out about this when I was applying for college in America, trying to come here. I found about it very last minute. This organization, United States Education Foundation of Nepal, they have a lot of resources. They have advisors. You can ask them questions about how to apply. There's a lot of resources there. So, and it's free service. So definitely make use of that if you're coming fresh, like from Nepal to US. And then other international students also, like a lot of countries have this organization established.
United States Education Foundation, just research for that. And also the Fulbright education, right? That was another resource that we found for Nepali student that you can look in.
Yeah, Fulbright scholarship is great. Like you get a full ride, you get everything paid for.
I did not know that.
Me neither. I've met a Brazilian student when I was in grad school who got a Fulbright scholarship and he was so happy. Like yeah.
So this is why we're doing this podcast. So the things that we didn't know coming here, we can tell you about it and you can use these resources.
Yep.
Hopefully it helps. Yeah.
Yep. And we have a lot of links and websites that we didn't mention in the podcast because it would be silly too. So it's going to be all in our description box in our YouTube channel. We're going to post it on our blog post in Medium. And we'll mention it on our social media.
Yes, we'll definitely put all these information in our social media. And feel free to DM us or email us about any questions that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. And a final few words is that you may review 100 scholarships before you find one that applies to you. Be patient, stay on the course, be positive, and eventually you'll uncover a good match. And you'll appreciate all your research when you secure some good scholarships, because you have to be patient. It's a process. It's like having a full-time job.
Yes, and you're not going to apply to one and just get it right away. Yeah. So be okay with the rejection. That's the one thing you have to
and apply
understand.
to multiple ones.
Yes.
Like, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Put your eggs in different baskets. That's the moral of the story. Anyway, so hopefully this episodes of Scholarship for International Student was helpful for you. We did a lot of research to put all these material together. And if you have any question, reach out to us. We'll give you more insights on how to make your scholarship, like how to get a scholarship and how to make these essays more valid for your scholarship. Yeah. So hopefully it helps.
Dude, I totally forgot to mention this. So, for example, you got an academic scholarship. Suppose you got a presidential scholarship where you get $6,000 taken off your tuition, right? But there's a caveat. You have to maintain a certain grade point average. Yes. So if the requirement is 3.5 GPA, you have to maintain that every single semester. If you don't, your scholarship will be taken away.
Yeah, that's a great point, because a lot of these scholarship comes with this, you can get this amount of XYZ grant, but you will have to take XYZ classes or maintain grades, like you said. But that's a great point.
I mean, there are other forms of it as well, where you get a chunk of money towards your education, or there is like semester based.
Yes.
So it just depends on what you get. So you have to be conscious of that and
definitely
not fall off the wagon.
Yes. All right. So with that, we would like to wrap up our episode.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. Please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can just hit the red icon below, red button below, and you can also hit the bell icon so that you can get notified every time a new episode comes out.
Hit every icon until you subscribe. So
which we publish bi-weekly as much as we can, unless there's some kind of craziness happening, because we both work full-time.
Like Christmas. Yeah.
And we are also on social media. We have Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter accounts. All their handles are Khaskura Podcast. You can also read our blog post on Medium blog, which is also Khaskura
Podcast, yes.
And you can listen to our podcast in SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
And also in Google Podcasts. We're in every format that you can
possibly think of.
Yeah, every platform that you can.
You don't really have to pay for certain platforms.
No,
so
it's all free.
Go for it.
Yes. We're on Medium too. We try to write a blog about each episodes, about anything we missed here, or any resources. Like, we're going to put a bunch of resources for this episode. So feel free to read our blog if you don't have time to watch or listen to it. So thank you so much for tuning in. We're signing off. Goodbye.
Have a good night.